Several months ago, British Prime Minister Theresa May negotiated an agreement for the UK to leave the European Union. In January, a majority in the British Parliament voted against it. Since then, May and members of her cabinet have shuttled between Brussels and Westminster, trying to make tweaks to the deal so the House of Commons can finally approve it. March 29th is the current deadline for Brexit. That's less than 3 weeks away. So how can May get from here to there? Well, by March 12th, she must offer Parliament another up or down vote on her divorce agreement with or without revisions. If lawmakers approve it, she could still try to make Brexit happen by March 29th. But it's possible she might need more time to rush through all the necessary legislation, in which case she could ask for a brief extension to the deadline with an uncertain end date. If her deal loses that first vote, May's promised a second separate vote on March 13th. That could allow Parliament to decide whether it wants the UK to exit the EU with a deal, just not May's deal, or with no deal. Now, if no deal wins a majority, then without any comprehensive arrangements over trade, customs, or citizens' rights, Britain would still leave the EU on March 29th. But if enough lawmakers dislike that option, May is guaranteed a third vote on March 14th to consider a possible extension. If that idea wins parliamentary support, the UK would ask Europe for more time to consider its options. Theresa May wants to limit any extension to 3 months, but it's not clear whether the EU will suggest more time than that, demand less time than that, or offer no time at all. If that third vote fails on March 14th, the UK could be back to square one.
And I thought Chutes and Ladders was an American game. Willem Marx joins us. So, Willem, the 3 votes this week, each one gets more and more important. And if she doesn't get support by the last one, Britain either makes a hard exit or could you still at that point get an extension from the EU?
It would have to be another parliamentary process beyond that, which would presumably not necessarily be led by the government. And that would then come down to whether the government would offer time in Parliament for non-government ministers to table motions. It gets incredibly complicated, but essentially Theresa May, what you need to know, is heading to Strasbourg tonight. That is one of the second cities where the European Parliament sits, and that's where Jean-Claude Juncker, the President of the European Commission, is right now. They're expected to meet. We're also expecting to hear from her later on this evening or indeed tomorrow morning ahead of the debate here in Westminster. What's going to be really important is whether she's able to get any kind of change to an interpretation of an agreement that's already been signed up on the Northern Irish backstop. That's something that her Attorney General has been fighting for over the last few weeks, and it's something that a lot of members of her own party have insisted must happen for them to swing behind their vote and allow it to pass.
I think I follow, Willem. I certainly like the Chutes and Ladders stuff. We'll see what happens this week. Thank you so much.